It looked like this part of the castell had taken some damage. The door was locked. Nope, I needed to try something else. The stone fireplace was old and dusty. The carved figure resembled the young man in the painting. Hey, Nico.
We may not have a lot of time, you know. Medowski could be here any minute.
La Maledizio, back in its rightful place. But what were the clues? The plinths looked like they could be rotated. The stone fireplace was old and dusty. I'd put some statues above the fireplace, but it was hard to tell if they were the same ones as in Marquez's family photograph. The blue-colored statue was robed with a bald head and bare feet. The green stone figure was barefoot and wearing a hat. The plinths looked like they could be rotated. The plinths looked. The blue-colored statue was I wondered if the notes could help decrypt La Malediccio. La Malediccio, back in its rightful place. But what were the clues? If I looked hard enough, the church clearly had a long history of demonizing the Gnostics. The statues were facing outward, just like in the Marquez photo. I waited with bated breath for something to happen. Nothing. There was no fuel to light in the fireplace, just dust and a few spiders. The statues on the plinth were the same as the ones in the Marquez family photograph. I needed a better idea. The statues on the plinth. It was the lower half of a green, barefooted statue. The blue-colored statue was robed with a bald head and bare feet. On the fireplace behind them were two identical statues. On the fireplace behind them were two identical statues. If I looked hard... It was a tower of tormented souls. They looked like the damned. It was a castle of saints, Castel de Saints, in Catalonia. The blue statue was missing its head. Only his robes and sandaled feet remained. The blue-colored statue was robed with a bald head and bare feet. The green stone figure was barefoot and wearing a hat. The blue-colored statue was robed with a bald head and bare feet. The green stone figure was barefoot and wearing a hat. The illustration showed a group of colored figures engaged in some sort of ritual. The blue and green figures appeared to be in control. The crowd in the foreground were colored red. I guessed it was a representation of the ritual in the text. The large figures looked just like the carvings on the Castell fireplace. The blue statue was missing its head. Only his robes and sandaled feet remained. The green stone figure was barefoot and wearing a hat.
is this? A staircase. I never knew. We must go up. We don't have much time. Stairs. Always stairs.
Oh my God, look at this.
Georges? Georges! What's this? A piece of burnt paper with the word Wolfram. That sounds familiar.
Wolfram. I curse that name forever.
What do you know about Wolfram, senor?
Wolfram. I spit on the name.
So you have lived here for a long time?
All my life. My father served here before me. In fact, he named me after Senor Xavier's favorite saint, Saint Ramon, patron saint of the falsely accused.
That's nice.
Not really. The Moors put a padlock through his mouth.
Oh, I see. Well, I guess there's a lesson there for all of us. What is Wolfram?
It was a mining company, run by a murdering swine called Ganon. In the Civil War, they backed the fascists. In return, Ganon was given soldiers to do his dirty work. They came here, brought their bloody war to this house, and killed Senor Xavier.
They shot Xavier? Senor Marquez's father?
I was just a boy, but I remember like it was yesterday. Shot him and his friend Hernandez, like animals.
Why did they come here?
They were searching for something, but they brought death with them. But there is one thing I have never understood. Xavier tried to escape through the library. But the library windows are barred. It is a dead end.
This Kenan, who was he?
He was Swiss, a businessman, and a murdering swine.
So what did he want here?
I don't know. When he wasn't torturing the locals, he disappeared to the library. Spent weeks in there, making notes and studying maps. His men, they crossed the whole of Catalonia searching for something.
Did they find it?
Who knows? One day, Gainen just disappeared. He never came back. An accident, perhaps, in the mountains. May his soul rot in hell. The soldiers didn't stay long to search for him. They hated him too.
The name Genan was familiar. He was the person who had tried to buy La Maledicción. A coincidence? Perhaps.
There is no such thing as coincidence.
So, when the soldiers left, you took back the house?
Yes. A few years later I returned and cleaned the place up. It broke my heart. I locked the library. I could not bear to touch Gainen's papers.
Can I have a look at the library?
No. I have kept it locked to honor the memory of Senor Xavier.
Please, this is important.
I lost the key.
You lost it?
That evening when I locked it up, I drank to the memory of Senor Xavier. The cellars were well stocked, Senora. It was a long night. I hid the key, then forgot where I hid it, so it is lost. That was all that was left in the morning. I haven't touched a drop since.
I needed to find out what Gainan had been working on in that library. There was a crate of brandy amongst the mess in the great hall. Apparently Ramon drank them all. Must have been some night. The bookcase held old Catalan books. I wouldn't be able to read them. The hall had collections of old items everywhere. Ramon claimed he had tidied the place up. The plants at least were thriving in the rubble. That wasn't worth trying. The door was locked. I had to find the key. I wondered where Ramon could have hidden it. An intricate mosaic adorned the floor. No, I needed a better idea. That wouldn't make sense. The internal courtyard had been beautiful once. Even overgrown like this, it had a serenity. No, that would never have worked. The fireplace was adorned with carved trees. George, are you there? The grate had locked back into place. The wind chime looked like it was made from old cans. The fountain had dried up long ago. Eva, I am glad your father is safe.
He's old and foolish. He shouldn't be here, but he wouldn't listen to me. I suppose he's still going on about that painting.
Well, yes. In fact, we decoded it.
You did?
Yes, we found a secret passage behind the fireplace.
What?
Your father and Georges went in.
What? That's ridiculous. He's an old man.
Don't worry, Georges knows what he's doing. So he always tells me anyway. Have you ever been inside the library?
No, I'm told it is locked.
The key is lost. Ramon says he hid it years ago and cannot remember where.
Shame.
Can you think of anywhere Ramon might have hidden the key?
What do you think I am, psychic?
Your father is looking very frail.
He's old, and he could do without people giving him the runaround chasing lost treasure.
Seen anything suspicious?
Apart from you and your American boyfriend, no.
He's not my boyfriend, you know.
Whatever.
Talk to you later. The garden was now an overgrown wilderness. It was a nice idea, but wouldn't have worked. According to the sundial, it was mid-afternoonish. A beautiful stained glass window had survived the attack so many years ago. That wouldn't have worked. It was a nice idea, but wouldn't have worked. Just some old trash. But the sound was pretty. An old apple tree provided shade. Shame that the goat's rope wasn't long enough for him to enjoy it. That wouldn't have worked. Hello, little one. An old pair of shoes. Another brandy bottle? Ramon really went for it that evening. The floor of the car was littered with keys from sardine cans. I guess that's where he got all the cans for the wind chime from. Someone had been sleeping in the car, but long, long ago. I picked up what looked like an old diary. It was Ramon's. The library will forever be a shrine. No one will enter. I shall hide the key in a safe place. Once I've eaten. I have just what I need and know what to do. Oh, beautiful lady, your eyes are so blue. I just can't stop thinking of you. Ramon was quite the budding poet. Our lives are entwined like ivy on a tree. That is what you mean to me. Nice. Hey, I was reading that. An old and very dubious pillow. The inside of the car was in a bad state. Someone had been sleeping in the car, but long, long ago. Have you no respect for great art? Pretty indigestible, huh? The goat had been tethered. Seemed unnecessary. The gentle animal wouldn't have harmed a soul. It was a nice idea, but wouldn't have worked. A pile of old apples. Looked like the goat had been eating lots of them. A heap of old brandy bottles. Ramon must have been in the car on that night all those years ago. An old apple tree provided shade. I just had a look at that old car in the garden. Looks like someone slept in it.
Me. When I returned, I couldn't bear the house at night. So, I slept in the car.
So, you have no idea what you did with the key?
All I remember is waking up in the old car.
The internal courtyard had been beautiful once. An intricate mosaic adorned the floor. That wouldn't happen. The fireplace was adorned with carved trees. The window was even prettier from inside. I believed it depicted old saints. The fireplace was adorned with carved trees. Despite the scrap components, the wind chime was beautiful. It was uncanny. One old sardine can was bulging slightly. I fished around. There was something in it. And there it was, the key to the library. The door was locked. Ramon had been true to his word. This place was like a shrine. Books were still stacked neatly in the bookcase. More were scattered on the floor. The trunk contained someone's personal possessions, at a guess, Genan's. I wondered what secrets they might hold. The hat looked battered and old. I wondered if it had belonged to the mysterious Genan. The map had interesting markings and scribbles all over it. Georges would be so jealous.
So, what is this place, senor?
It is my family's chapel.
It's not like any chapel I ever saw. Where's the altar, the crucifix, the Christian symbols? And this fresco, what's that?
How extraordinary. It tells a story. It depicts the journey of my ancestors, the Cathars, and their escape from the hilltop fortress of Montsegur with the Tabula Veritatis, from under the very noses of the soldiers of the Albigensian Crusade.
Whoa, wait a minute. Who are the Cathars? And what have they got to do with the tabula?
The Cathars were Gnostics. They lived in the south of France in the 12th century, at peace with the Jews and the Catholics of the Languedoc. They preached that men and women are equal, that God is within you, and that the Church is an obstacle to salvation. The Pope found their core beliefs abhorrent The Cathars accused him and his church of corruption. He condemned them as heretics. When the Pope learned that they were the guardians of the Tabula Veritatis, he conspired with the King of France and called for a holy war to wipe them out. The Albigensian Crusade was a callous, ruthless massacre. The final confrontation took place here at Montségur in 1244. The Crusaders believed that they had slaughtered all the heretics, but a handful managed to escape with the tabula. They traveled south across the Pyrenees along secret trails. They brought the tabula here to Catalonia to be hidden once more. Sadly, it was not the end of their trials. The Spanish Inquisition saw to that. Nevertheless, for generations, my ancestors continued to guard the secret of the tabula. So, you understand why La Maledizione is important to me. It will lead us to the tabula again, so we can keep it safe from those who wish to abuse its power.
The painting brought us up here, Senor. We need to find out why. The fresco deserved a proper examination. The fresco was surrounded by dusty inscriptions. My Latin was a little rusty, but I could still translate. Ex igne puritas, from fire, purity. Ex luce veritas, from light, truth. Ex labore sapientia, from struggle, knowledge. A town of northern Catalonia. A town of northern Catalonia. Cathars, fleeing across the Pyrenees to escape the slaughter of the Albigensian Crusade. They seemed to be carrying something. Cathars, fleeing across the Pyrenees to escape the slaughter of the Albigensian Crusade. They seemed to be carrying something. A town of northern Catalonia. Cathars, fleeing across the Pyrenees to escape the slaughter of the Albigensian Crusade. They seemed to be carrying something. A town of northern Catalonia. A town of northern Catalonia. A town of northern Catalonia. Cathars, fleeing across the Pyrenees to escape the slaughter of the Albigensian Crusade. They seemed to be carrying something. A town of northern Catalonia. Cathars being burned at the stake. Cathars being burned at the stake. The mountain fortress of Montségur burning after its capture by the Crusaders. Knights of the Albigensian Crusade. Knights of the Albigensian Crusade. A town of northern Catalonia. It was a large marble statue of an old man with a beard. The statue held aloft a colored glass lens. These statues...
What of them?
They're just like the figures in the painting, and on the fireplace.
Indeed, they are the two pillars of the Gnostic faith in harmony. And the bearded one is Yahweh, Jehovah, god of the physical world. The other is known by many names. Helel, Ishtar. He is the bearer of light. Luxfere, Lucifer.
Lucifer? So you guys are devil worshippers?
No. When he is in balance with Jehovah, Lucifer is the god of desire and ambition, driving humans to be inquisitive, to discover, to advance. Just as Jehovah, when he is in balance with Lucifer, is the god of order. Jehovah stands for selflessness and altruism. Gnostics worship the harmony of both gods in balance.
But what if one were to rule without the other?
If Jehovah ruled without Lucifer, then individuality would be surrendered. Mankind would be wholly conformist, mindlessly dependent, mere pawns of a controlling power.
And what if Lucifer ruled without Jehovah?
Ambition and desire would be transformed into unbridled greed, and man would lust only for wealth and power. Society would descend into chaos, disorder and war would prevail. Then Lucifer would be the devil indeed.
Marquez had told me that this was a statue of Lucifer. Marquez had told me that this statue was of Jehovah. It was a candelabrum holding a single candle. Just what this place needed. Bit of mood lighting. If only I had a few scatter cushions. It was a candelabrum holding a single candle. The candle was lit. I decided not to leave quite yet. I was sure there was more to discover up here. It was a candelabrum holding a single candle. The candle was lit. Cathars being burned at the stake. Marquez had told me that this was a statue of Lucifer. Light shone through the glass of the medallion, causing dappled red light to fall on the fresco. It meant something, but I didn't know what. I'm pretty sure I didn't want to burn that. Light shone through the glass of the medallion, causing dappled red light to fall on the fresco. Senor Marquez?
Yes?
Why was this room so well hidden?
After Monsegur, my ancestors were very careful about announcing their presence. Even I, as a boy, knew nothing of this place.
This fresco means something. I know it.
It is not just a historical record. There is a mystery locked in here. All those figures crossing the Pyrenees, one of them has to be carrying the real Tabula Veritatis. But which one?
So, Jehovah, he's God, isn't he?
He is the central figure in Abrahamic religions, but he represents just one aspect of our Gnostic beliefs, the physical world.
So this statue is Satan?
Not Satan, Lucifer.
Okay, so not evil?
The church demonized Lucifer to suit their own ends. He represents the spiritual and intellectual elements of the world. Good and evil are simply products of the human condition.
You talk about balance. What does that mean?
Harmony comes from the balance of Jehovah, who offers order, and Lucifer, who brings ambition. Only under their dual influence will man become enlightened. See the light.
So you say the Cathars are Gnostics?
The Cathars were a medieval religious movement based on Gnosticism. Nowadays, we simply call ourselves Gnostics.
So the tabula is the key to the power of God?
Yes, it is an object of tremendous power.
Wow, this Albigensian crusade sure must have been a bloody affair.
Few were spared. But it was only one episode in 2 millennia of persecution.
What's the deal with these lenses that the statues are carrying?
Clearly, they change the color of light that is reflected onto the fresco.
But why? And why the different colors? Does all that colored light falling on the fresco mean anything?
I don't know, senor. That is why I need you to help me.
Are you sure you don't want your medallion back?
I am sure. I know you will find a use for it.
Are you sure you don't want to see these papers?
I told you they do not interest me.
They talk about the Tabula Veritatis.
The words of a Dominican priest hold no interest for me.
I knew he wouldn't be interested. He wouldn't want to see it. Take a look at this.
That is of no matter.
This sketch of the face in La Maledictio.
What of it?
Who is it? And what does the symbol mean?
The face means nothing to me. But the symbol, it represents the Tabula Veritatis.
Anything else about the photograph you can tell me?
No, it brings back uncomfortable memories.
That wouldn't have worked. That wouldn't make any sense. Cathars being burned at the stake. It was a candelabrum holding a single candle. The candle was lit. It was a glass wheel divided into 6 colors, and it looked like it could be rotated. Part of the lens was covered. It was a glass wheel, just like the one held by the other statue. Part of the lens was covered. That was never going to happen. Nope, I needed to try something else. Light shone through the glass of the medallion, causing dappled red light to fall on the fresco. I decided not to leave quite yet. I was sure there was more to discover up here. That wouldn't work. I'm pretty sure I didn't want to burn that. That wouldn't have worked. I needed a better idea. The mountain fortress of Montségur burning after its capture by the Crusaders. Cathars fleeing across the Pyrenees to escape the slaughter of the Albigensian Crusade. They seemed to be carrying something. That was almost a great idea. Almost. That wouldn't have worked. I'm pretty sure I didn't want to burn that. Nope, I needed to try something else. That wouldn't have worked. The color changed from yellow to green. The color changed from green to turquoise. The color changed from turquoise to blue. Cathars being burned at the stake. The color changed from yellow to green. A town of northern Catalonia. Knights of the Albigensian Crusade. The color changed from green to turquoise. Marquez had told me that The color changed from blue. The color changed from magenta to red. It was a candelabrum holding a single candle. The candle was lit. Light shone through the glass of the medallion, causing dappled red light to fall on the fresco. I removed the small leather cover to reveal a crude crystal lens. Colored light streamed through and shone onto the fresco. Colored light from the rotating glass wheel was refracted by the lens onto the fresco. The color changed. The color changed. The color changed. The color changed. The color changed from yellow to green. The color changed from. The color changed. The color changed. The color changed. The color changed from red to yellow. The color changed from yellow to green.